Hello everybody, my name is Kenneth and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be checking out SB19's official visualizer for the song Nyebe. I apologize in advance if I am mispronouncing that. I did quickly Google to try and see if I could quickly find a pronunciation guide or anything. I couldn't. I did see that a quote was attributed to Pablo about the song being something about hopelessness. So I am really looking forward to seeing what this is going to be. I have subtitles on, but I don't know if there's going to be any like on-screen subtitles or anything. I do think as well that I read just quickly when I was doing the quick Google that, and again, I'm sorry about the pronunciation, Nyebe is the Filipino word for snow, perhaps. So please let me know in the comments if that is correct, or I assume maybe the song itself will tell me. But without any further ado, let us get into, and again, I'm sorry, Nyebe. Please correct me on the pronunciation because I'm sure I butchered it. But let's get into this.
What is uncertainty?
Oh, so we're starting with a bit of narration. Okay.
Longing.
Okay. Oh,
What
I'm
is
really liking the effect of the. Again, if we're assuming snow, I'm really enjoying the way this is handwritten, but like the animation is it's almost like pencil dots, but it's also like it's very reminiscent of snow. So it's this is gonna be interesting. I love the effort that's put into this, and I said this during the Ilao visualizer as well, with the kind of the standard of the art that was present then. I really like the effort that is put into this kind of video because a visualizer, you could make it very simple and less work because obviously in kind of the rankings of it, you've got like music video at the top, usually that has the biggest budget and so on and so forth, versus like your visualizer and your lyric video, which are often more simple, not saying less expensive, but maybe less expensive than certain music videos might cost. But I just love the effort that SB19 put into their visualizers as well as their, in comparison to their music videos, because they put a lot into their music videos and they put a lot into these. Just gonna go back. So longing, uncertainty, what is hopelessness? So already we've got a lot of kind of, what's the word? Are they adjectives? Very thematic adjectives or nouns. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Oh. Okay, this is a very interesting idea. I'm just gonna turn this up a little bit. Like the change. The change that we've kind of gone through from that to this, and the interesting decision of where to shoot these clips. I love this piano. I love that Ken's starting this. A cold heavier than my burden has started to kiss my face. Interesting. Sorry. I just wanted to go back. Why didn't I notice that? A cold heavier than my burden is... So already I'm getting this kind of idea that it's the idea of a sudden negative feeling that has come over the kind of character of the song, if you like. It's the idea that maybe that they were and obviously we'll find out, we're only a minute in, but it's that maybe idea of everything was going well and then suddenly it was, just like how snow suddenly falls, it kind of happens. I love his voice. I really like that shot as well, actually.
Kahit pa palapit na ang inaabangan nila, nano'y pinatibok ang puso kong ngayoy nagyan.
Oh, I love Pablo's voice.
Alam ang aking gagawin pa, ako'y kontento na basta alam kong tayo'y
Oh, I love that line. I'm content that we're just still breathing. Just knowing that we're breathing. I love that.
kontento na basta alam kong tayo'y humihinga pa. Sa dami ng pinagdaanan ay hindi ko na alam kung paano pa ba ako
I love the juxtaposition of these shots where you've got the rubbish and the empty shoe, you know, the lonely shoe, as that kind of almost that kind of symbol of something being left behind, something being lost and forgotten about, and you know, almost ignored, because you know, like when you see like some rubbish in the street or something, very few people will stop and take time out of their day in order to kind of pick up that. And in the same way as when someone's struggling, or you know, as the boys went through struggles themselves, they didn't necessarily have I'm not saying they had no support system, but they maybe didn't have as much of a support system as we'd like in a perfect world. I love this though. Also, again, these shots are beautiful.
kung tayo'y humihinga pa. Sa dami ng pinagdaanan ay hindi ko na
I'm really sorry. Hang on, guys. 1 second. I'm really sorry, guys. It appears I'm having issues with my my headphones. They seem to be going on their way out.
hindi ko na
So I apologize.
alam kung paano pa ba ako magiging masaya. Tayo may maghalayo.
Oh, that riff. That little. Oh, that's so pretty. I love that idea of being apart from someone. And it's almost the idea of you've gone different ways. But at least one of you, you know, maybe hopefully both, but at least one of you are looking back and still, again, like they say, praying, but like the idea of keeping them in their thoughts and their heart. Oh, I love that. And what I love about this image as well is it's this suggestion that maybe the distance, it's not just as simple as picking up the phone, because when you look at this, it's like and I'm sorry for wherever this phone box is, but this phone box looks kind of like abandoned. It looks like it's maybe it's the remnants of a phone box, because it doesn't look like you can see like any cabling or anything. It looks like it's been ripped out and that's just like the husk left behind. So it feels like that idea of it's not easy enough, or it's not possible to just pick up the phone and say hi, or physically check up on how that person is, versus being kind of able to and so it's very much keeping them in their heart and in their mind. I love this so far. And again, I love the way that these shots are very simple. Like you'd see a person on a bench, you'd see a person in the couple shots from now, on their phone, like up by the like on their just sat, like not sat, but like on the floor with their phone out. They're very normal kind of shots, but there's a contentment here in Justin, which really kind of works with the lyrics, and even like the later shot kind of work that really works with that lyric of keeping someone in their thoughts and maybe reminiscing. Again, I loved that so much. That little vibrato on the end, like it's just the smallest sliver on the yo part. Oh. I love that idea of fear being temporary. You know, fear is just the moment when you're in the rain, in the storm, but that will pass and it will fade away and everything will be better. And this song definitely feels like that idea of reaching out to someone in need, maybe someone who is a friend, or maybe someone who was a friend that you've drifted apart from. But I love this line here about this, I promise, I am here, because it's a line that, especially given that the song is about hopelessness and uncertainty and fear, hearing those words, I am here, it's such a simple sentence, but it's 3 words that can be the difference between someone feeling completely rock bottom, alone, refusing to try and see the brighter side of life, and then it's that versus, you know, being able to see the sunshine behind the clouds, being able to see the color of the world around them, and the hopefulness in the world around them. This song is really nice, and it's so soft sounding, and it even sounds, it sounds like the person that's collecting that shoe in the middle of the road that's just been left, or that's cleaning up that little pile of rubbish that's been just left, you know, instead of cleaned up. It feels like that person sat beside someone on a street corner, you know, while maybe the friend or the person is bawling their eyes out, or is upset, or is, you know, even maybe angry at their hopelessness. But this song is almost like that other person that's there with them, and they're calmly keeping them grounded and reminding them of the good in the world. That's what it sounds like, you know, kind of the tone of the song. It sounds comforting. Nyebe, okay. Nyebe. Okay, well, the minute I saw snow in the captions, I was really paying attention. Nyebe. Okay. I don't think my pronunciation was too bad, but Nyebe. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I love this. I love this new element that we've added to the accompaniment. It's almost like a string or a pad or something. But the texture of it, I describe it as shimmering, because in my head I can almost, rather than a string being kind of like this, I almost feel like the texture is like this, and that's how I see shimmering in my head. I really... So these shots here over these lyrics, it feels like so in some cases you can, there's the phrase where there's snow, there's hope. And so in this kind of part of here, it almost feels like the introduction of hope into the song, in a way of, it's almost like there's two voices. So there's there's the I am here voice, and then there's the character voice in the verses that feels different. And so when I say the introduction of hope, it feels like this second character, this that's been in the verses, it feels like they're finding their hope. And it the kind of juxtaposition of the shots that we're seeing people doing kind of like the ordinary thing, getting up, maybe brushing their teeth, the idea is that running water there, even just waking up here, and then here we have someone who is, and some people who they're nondescript about, we don't know who these people are, but they're doing like the kind of, I guess, baggage, maybe moving baggage for or transporting people onto the airline, the aircraft, and so it looks like it's just this ordinary person kind of thing, going about their day and like trying to find hope in the little things, like holding someone, being with someone, hearing their voice, and it's the idea, I guess, because snow obviously often comes when it's cold, but there's times where you can have, it happens in this country where the sun can be out and shining and then the snow will still fall, and obviously the image of snow, it's very beautiful, it's very simple, but it's very beautiful. Each snowflake is individual and unique, and as it falls, you're likely never going to see two snowflakes that look exactly the same, or snow particles that look exactly the same. I might be wrong, but that's kind of the idea that I get. I mean, even that kind of shot there, you've got this planetarium, and obviously this person here has an interest in kind of space and the goings on beyond our world, but it's that juxtaposition of something as grand and large as the universe versus something as simple as hearing someone special talk, their voice, and the comfort that brings. And almost that contrast, because when you think about like the uncertainty of the universe, there's so much we don't know about the universe and how it works and how we work and our place in the universe. But it's that certainty of someone's voice, someone's familiar voice, versus the uncertainty of what's out there, and that existential kind of fear that we all have. And that's really lovely. It's interesting as well. There's some like lyrics that I'm noticing in the Tagalog. Like here, for instance, you've got this part that's crossed out, like it's written out and then it's removed. And I'd love to know, because obviously the English captions don't have those crossed out parts. I would love to kind of know what was written and then crossed out. If you guys would like to tell me in the comments. I mean, I just think that line, I hope holding you wouldn't be impossible. And I think of all the things that are going on in the world right now, all the negative things, all the horrible things, where the simple act of holding someone just isn't possible. And it's like, I love the juxtaposition with this mundane kind of shot, because these people are going about their day doing whatever, and obviously there's other people that their mundane life has been turned upside down, and they you know they can't do that. I love this. Oh, I love the vocal tone in that. Nyebe. Oh, I love that. I love also so far that the change in this that this has brought. It just sounds so much more positive, and you've got this nice little drum track starting to come in. Here, when I refer to drum track, I don't mean like it's virtual, it's not a real drummer. I just mean that like the track that the drums are on. And now I'm starting to hear hope even more, and that idea of, we've been talking about the burden of being cold and the burden and the negatives, whereas now they're saying like, yes, it's snowing, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. That simple idea of the warmth in our hearts is able to keep us warm in any kind of storm or cold weather, or even if we don't have something. The idea of having that someone, or some people in our lives that are able to bring us that distraction from the negative, that are able to take us away from the negative, or even just support us through the negative, until, like they say here, the snow will slowly melt. And because it's a really hopeful lyric, because it's that idea of, while the cold can be uncomfortable, while struggles can be horrible and difficult to deal with, they're not always going to be there. There's that hopefulness that it will that just like the snow, it will melt, it will fade away, it will pass. And also that idea of that juxtaposition with the weather of when the snow melts, the snow melts because the sun is here. It's there, it's warming the world up, it's brightening the world up. And so that idea of, it's a guarantee that snow negative struggles, they will all fade away, and there will be a payoff. There will be a warmth, and a comfort afterwards. Again, some of the shots in this are really, really interesting that they've chosen to do. Like, this looks like archive footage. Moods of the sea change quickly like me. I think that's an amazing quote for this song, when we're talking about the ephemerative nature of struggle and negative emotions. The idea of, there's that phrase that's like, that people often say to children, where it's like, when they're a child is like pulling like a crossed face or a sad face, and it's that idea of like, if the wind changes, your face will be stuck like that. And so it's interesting, like when you think about all those like phrases and like this phrase, and just like how we shouldn't choose to like dwell on things that make us feel negative, because they don't last, they change quickly like me. And also that kind of idea of something, the mood's changing like you change. Obviously the things that make us sad and make us unhappy in the short term, often in the long term, they don't mean anything. The things that bother us as kids don't bother us as teens. The things that bother us as teens might not bother us as young adults. And the things that bother us in our young adulthood don't bother us when it comes to the end of our lives, when we're much older. So just like the moods of the sea, we change quickly. Okay, maybe not as quickly as the sea can, or the wind, but we definitely change in that similar way. I love this soft ooh sound. It's almost like it's almost like the oohs are like that background comfort, that background sound that's maybe always there that we don't hear. This is an interesting thing as well that we just paused on. I just happened to pause. I'm just trying to read some of the things. I'm seeing things about immigration and immigrants. Something about foreign music. I'm trying to skim read because I'll be honest, I can't read everything properly. I'm seeing things about homelessness, something about the auto sector or something. I see a very blatant wording of poor family. So maybe this is talking about like the displacement of people by not just like war and famine and things like that, but by industry, people left behind. Maybe there's that element of hopelessness that people feel. Again, going back to that idea of the shoe, they've just been left and maybe thrown away and forgotten about. Something about after someone killed their parent, their parents were killed by someone. It's a very interesting shot here as well, especially because of this is taking place on looks like a high street. And then again, you've got people just going about their everyday business. I love that the drums seem to be picking up, but even this chorus sounds hopeful. That note just sounds so positive. Yeah. That idea of being so driven to do something that time just doesn't exist for you anymore because you're putting every minute, every hour, every second into pushing yourself and putting yourself into that dream. Obviously, around this time, I think this would be when their careers were just maybe starting to take off. Maybe I'm not entirely sure where this fits in their kind of timeline, but maybe this was when things were starting to pay off for them as a group. All that work, all that training that they've been doing. Maybe that's when it was starting to pay dividends. Come back to them. But even just before they said, before Ken kind of said that line, I think it was Ken. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't want to just associate Ken's voice with it because obviously Ken was featured in the shot. But obviously that idea of time going slower, you feel it more when you're struggling because it's, when you think back to for instance, homeless people, it's where am I going to sleep tonight? Where am I going to spend my last dime? Where am I going? Am I going to be able to buy dinner or buy something that will comfort me or, and so time for someone who's struggling is a lot different. A second can feel like an hour. Whereas when you're focused and in the moment and arguably even having fun, as these guys were realizing their dream and stuff like that. Of course they were having fun. They were enjoying their company. they're each other's company. They were enjoying what they were doing. They were enjoying, the kind of formation of 18. All of these things were coming together, and so you had this almost timeless kind of feeling, because you're just riding the kind of the high of it all. And again, just the way this song kind of started with the narration, and it's very somber, very somberly delivered, to now where Ken's delivery feels very emotional, it's like an outpouring to me. He's not just saying it, he's almost like just expounding it from his lungs. It's just a lovely progression. I love the juxtaposition of that shot with the lyric. That's a really interesting lyric. If only I could fly back then. That he'd break his wings. And maybe this is more about talking about like you have to struggle in order to get out of that struggle, and then in order to appreciate what you have after the fact. If you never if every day is a sunny day, there's no rain, there's no snow, there's no anything, life becomes meaningless, because every day is the same. Every day is just one after another, and a repetitive cycle. And it's almost that idea of you have to struggle to live. It's almost as well like he's saying you have, in order to be able to appreciate yourself and appreciate what's around you, you have to have that hard work. You have to have that struggle, because then you can take that moment afterwards to be like, whew. It's like the idea of kind of, in my head, what I think of then is the idea of standing on a mountaintop somewhere and there's nothing happening. Everything is still. There's barely any sounds. There's no noise of the city. There's no noise at all, maybe. And you're just surrounded by nature and the quiet wind, and you're just able to kind of breathe in and breathe out and just take everything in and just exist for a moment. That's the kind of image that I get from this. Is that the Doomsday clock? I've never seen the Doomsday clock, but that looks like something that would maybe be the Doomsday clock. And the idea of here, I feel like it's the idea of you're only a couple of minutes away from midnight, therefore you're only a couple of minutes away from something going wrong or another struggle to face. Maybe. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. I'm really sorry for pausing here. My headphones are actually really annoying me because they're ruining. They're like starting to crackle. I'm hoping it's not coming through for you guys. I hope you guys won't be able to tell this. But on my end, it's really ruining my immersion because every now and again it crackles. I am getting new headphones. to use for recordings and stuff. But I just had to say, if I ever look like my immersion's kind of changed or anything like that, that's why. I'm really trying to not let it distract me, but yeah, I just wanted you guys to know that. Oh, I just love the way musically that shifts. Oh, a key change. Okay, I love this. Oh no, I have to come back. What I love is the way that, like, musically it like the accompaniment becomes very bare bones and very simple. And then not only do those drums come back in and dum dum, probably getting the drum pattern wrong. I'm not a drummer, but you know, dum dum, and then you get that anticipation, but then not just like a payoff of like a really powerful chorus, which a powerful chorus would have been great on its own, but the key change really elevates that and really makes you feel that kind of almost celebratory kind of thing of celebrating that hopelessness and struggle and getting out the other side. Sorry. Oh. I love that high note in the background. Oh, I think for me, just what gets me through this part is just the way that this person, when I say person, I mean the characterization of a person in the lyrics here. It's all about getting through your day and reaching that person or reaching that thing at the end of the day that is able to bring you out of whatever is keeping you in like a negative space or a negative feeling. The person that's able to help melt that snow, you know, and warm your heart. Oh. And I have to just see like this picture. So I love that there's the silliness, because when you think about this, obviously Pablo wrote this. Obviously for Pablo, his members are this voice, you know, for you know, there's that period of time in there, you know, in the history of SB19 where, you know, they were thinking about giving up, they were thinking about going separate ways, and you know, there was the very real possibility that SB19 wouldn't exist anymore. And so when you think of that, and then you think of where they are now, and you think about like just like how would Pablo have been? How would each member have been if, when they said they were going separate ways, if they hadn't decided to come back? If, was it Stell? I think it was Stell that decided that was deciding to be, you know, to persevere and carry on, as, you know, wanted SB19 to carry on. I think it was maybe him and Josh. I think. Please forgive me. It's been a really long time since I watched Chuck's series. But you know, imagine if that insistence hadn't been there, if they hadn't have gotten back together, how would they have been? Before I recorded this, I recorded my reaction to Showbreak episode 5, and I was saying, like, look at how like they interact with each other. Imagine a world where SB19 didn't continue. These guys didn't stay together. And they kind of like the phone box, the image of the phone box comes to mind. where it's still there in terms of the husk, but like all of the emotion's been pulled out of it, all of the history, and just that to me is just like imagining like SB19 if they hadn't continued, because it'd have been this part of their history, but they wouldn't, maybe if they hadn't continued, if they hadn't continued to put effort in and come back together and continue as they have, they might have been that phone box in 20-30 years that's had their, the emotion and the history ripped out and the purpose ripped out of them. And it's this kind of thing of like, where would they be without each other? Because I'm not saying that they're the only support that each member has, because obviously they've got their own family and things like that, and their own family members. But it's that idea of where would they be without one another? And I truly hope, even if eventually they get too old to make music or to do things together, in terms of the kind of the stage kind of world and the performance kind of side of it, I hope that in their personal lives they're able to keep their relationships and keep their friendships together until the very end, because I don't think I'd want to see a world where these guys were not doing silly things like this, like where they're sat in a photo booth taking silly pictures, pulling funny faces, and just being in each other's presence. I don't think I'd want that world, because that world would be a world where the snow would never melt. But I love this song. This is a cute. This shot here is adorable. Look at how happy they are. And they're doing the most simple, mundane things. And that's the thing that's been really running through this video. They could easily have done, for these like more hopeful looking shots, they could have easily have done them performing together, them doing, the SB19 thing, really home in on that. But throughout this video, it's been the mundane, doing your laundry, getting up in the morning, brushing your teeth, going to work. And now here we have this, just sitting around a fire together, spending time together, simply existing in the same space is enough. Look at their smiles. Look at how they are just so happy to be in each other's presence. That's what a true friendship is being able to sit in a quiet room or a quiet space or just be somewhere, irrespective of where that place is, and just feel safe and feel at home. And I love the simplicity of this shot. Because even like here, and the choice to show this clip again over this lyric, it's the idea of struggles will still happen. I will still have my difficulties. You will still have your difficulties. We will have our difficulties. But you're here, and that's what's going to get me through. Just like and it works multiple ways, both ways. I'm going to be the thing that helps you get through. I'm going to be the thing that helps you through your metaphorical snow. And I just love that. That idea as well of a flutter, a lot of times the kind of idea of a flutter is often romanticized and turned into like that more romantic, like first love or love at first sight kind of thing. But I love the way here it's juxtaposed with that very real and non-romantic friendship. It's that flutter of seeing your friends and knowing everything is going to be okay. It's that flutter of knowing you're going to be safe, that you're going to be accepted, that you're going to be able to share in the good and the bad and take them on together. And I just love this. That's just the perfect way to end. That's just the perfect way to end that. Just that idea of running together. Jumping into whatever comes. I didn't cry. I thought I might cry. Just because I know we've got another 38 seconds. Just before the next 38 seconds. I think when I was suggested to when one of you guys suggested that I react to this, I asked if I was gonna cry, I think, and I don't think anyone said. That last shot, I can feel like the tear forming, like, you know, that moment where you're not crying, but you get like one thing will set you off. So I didn't cry. I got through this, but this almost got me. This almost got me. How can we resent the life we've created for ourselves? Who's to blame? Who's to credit but us? Who can change it anytime we wish but us? Richard Bach. So I'm assuming that's a poet or something, but that's very true. I said this, and I said this is not SB19 related, but I said this during my TXT reaction that I did. A lot of times when things are going wrong in our lives, or we're feeling left behind, or just struggling, there's often a tendency for us to not want to take responsibility for that, because we don't want to say like, oh, a choice I made 5 years ago has put me in this place, or so, you know, something along those lines. But I really like this quote, because it almost just that decision that we maybe made 5 years ago or whenever, that put us in maybe put us in the place we are now, isn't the end point. It doesn't define where we will be in the next 5 years or the next 10 years. And I really like that idea, that there's this idea that our circumstances, we can change them at any point in our lives, and that the door is always open, because there's that idea again where we often feel when we're in our most lowest kind of space and time, that this is the end, this is it, there's nothing, you know, I can only, or, you know, to the even negative kind of idea of I can only go lower, maybe in your, you know, in that emotional state, where this kind of gives the idea and the hopefulness that things can change, and that we can be the improvers of our own destiny and our own fate. You know, that was a lyric that was in this song, I think, something along the lines of fate will soon fade, or something like that. And it's that idea of stopping pretending that everything's predetermined or worked out for us, and making that decision to choose our path and be intentional with it and purposeful with it. This was great. I just want to see if there's anything at the end here. But yeah, I loved this. I think once again Pablo did an amazing job. With this. I think the thing that with Pablo's writing is the human element to it. He speaks about things that we often think are solely us, you know, our own struggles and things that we are facing, but that we often all are facing at different points in our lives, and that we're all struggle with, and that we all have to work to overcome. And so I really like the way he's able to capture that that human, that thing that unites us all, and is able to express it in such a way, and in such a way that parallels kind of what was happening and is happening with SB19. You know, again, you have all of these struggles that the members were going through individually, as well as a group. And then I look at this, and this was a year ago. I look at them now, where we're seeing, from even just like an international state, kind of the way that they have skyrocketed, and that they are, you know, they're slowly getting that international recognition and appreciation, versus where they were just 5 years ago, 10, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, you know, where they were thinking about quitting, you know, that they did quit for a lot, you know, a lot of the members, and SB19 could have just been a pipe dream. It could have just been a skipping stone across the water, and then, but it wasn't, and it isn't, and it's amazing seeing that parallel within this song, and Nyebe is such a beautiful song, and it makes me happy to think of where the guys are now. And yeah, I loved the song. I love the song. And again, I said this at the beginning, but the attention to detail with this song, you know, the song's visualizer, this could have been very easily just the handwritten Tagalog lyrics, but each kind of visual shot was intentional and served a purpose. Like, for instance, there was a shot of Alcatraz, and obviously when you think of Alcatraz, you think of like the worst of humanity, that the prison idea, and the idea of, you know, within the song, the idea that you have put yourself in that position. But even maybe the idea of, and maybe this is controversial, maybe the idea of being able to rehabilitate that, and maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I could see that. And there was even just the beginning of the music video. I'm just gonna check something really quickly. I think the beginning, you had the location of the Twin Towers. I'm not sure. I'll be honest, despite being a child at the time, I was never really aware of how the skyline looked before the Twin Towers, and so I think there's maybe the suggestion of that in the beginning of the visualizer, and the idea of that immense heartbreak and loss of life. But then after the events, you know, the idea of pulling yourself and your community along and building yourselves back up after such a traumatic and horrible experience, I think was a very interesting inclusion, because again, you've got something that's truly heartbreaking. It's not just the struggle of the mundane struggle of waking up and going about your day, but it's doing that after something so horrific and tragic. And so the inclusion of it really kind of hits you in the chest. But yeah, I think my last thing is this was so well done. And I really enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much for watching my reaction. I'm running out of words. But I loved it. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. Feel free to do any of the YouTube stuff. I know I never really say that. That's how much I'm running out of words. Feel free to do all of that stuff. anything I've missed, anything that you maybe interpret differently, please leave again in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone. Goodbye.